Alright, and later ones, there would be a filter that goes underneath here if there's a pocket. And put our governor on here, facing this way. I'm going to leave this on here loose. There's a hole in our output shaft. It's going to have to line up with this. We got a thinner snap ring, went the short end of the taper up towards us. Pair of snap ring pliers. Alright, now that that's on there, we can tighten these down.
Appreciate you.
Bend these tabs up. And we got this weight. Spring goes in. Weight goes in. Short end of the taper up towards us again. Alright, make sure we're all the way in that groove. The weight goes in. Got an E-clip on here. It's going to go all the way through. Got another E-clip goes on this side. No, but of course. Alright. Now we got another snap ring. Short end of the taper up towards us again. We got a really thick snap ring. Short end of the taper up towards us. Bottom groove. This one's really stout too. Alright. Bearing goes with the groove down. Another fat snap ring, short end of the taper up towards us. There we go. change out our sealing rings. Try not to break these in case you break one assembling this unit. And the ones that are on here may have a hooked end like this bottom one did, where it hooks in like so. Usually in the kit you're going to get ones that are like this. You can try your sealing rings in the back of your support. You want the gap to be almost non-existent. I think you're allowed 9 thousandths. That looks pretty good. Alright, if you look right here, you can see where the bushing is put together. You don't want to put that in one of these spots where it's being staked. Put it over away from it. Stake your bushing in place. This is what the factory style seal looks like. And this is what you're probably going to get in your kit. Put a little bit of 3M weather strip adhesive around the seal. Let me go press this seal in. Like I said before on the teardown, the early Torqueflite pump gears does not matter which way they go in. If you can see which way it was before, you can go ahead and put it in that way. This way was facing down. I'm going to line up our ports right here. It'll only line up one way, so it ain't that big of a deal. You do want to make sure your pump gears are pretty much centered. Even just flipping the pump around can move them gears off and they'll get cocked and get stuck. And most times you can free them up with a couple scribes, but sometimes they do get stuck and you have to take it back apart. You got 6 1/2-inch bolts. A lot of times you have to use a chrome socket because it gets kind of close in on a couple of these. Got our sealing rings here. And they hook together like so. Got our O-ring. Go around here. And we will have a gasket that goes between it and the case. I did forget, I'm going to probably have to take these back off. We're going to change the ring or the washer on the pump. These usually have a lot of play, and we can make up a bunch of it. One of the areas I'm going to do it in is between the direct drum and the forward drum, or what Chrysler calls the front and rear drum. because it looked like this was almost hitting on that drum, so we're going to raise it up a little bit. These are 84 thousandths. I do have a couple in here that are 100, so we're going to go with 2 100 thousandths if I got ones that fit. There we go. Put that one right there. Let's see here. Make sure we got the right rings. Later models would have a sealing ring that goes right here. And in fact, I think it gave us one in the kit. No, I guess they did not. And that's the wrong ones. See if I can get this back off without breaking it. I think it's going to break. Oh, there we go. It should have been the right one, but it sure don't look right. It seems way too small. And it is. So I'm going to have to see if I can round some up. Anytime you're unsure about the sealing ring, stick it in the surfaces going in, and that'll tell the tale. It just falls in there on this one. So looks like they might have gave me some Teflon ones. I guess we'll go with the Teflon ones, so they're going to go like so. Not like that, like that. Just give these a little tweak and put some grease in the ringland, and it'll help hold it in there. Grease on the situation. You want your lip facing up towards you. The lip facing up towards you. Make sure that check ball's rattling around. Put your bell valve plate in, dish down. Put your metal ring in on top of that. And then this super wavy snap ring goes on there. Now they gave me a master kit with steels, so we're going to be replacing the steels on this thing. And usually the kind of flat looking clutches are the forwards, these are the directs. And you want the pressure plate that looks like that, it goes down. Our cutouts are going to stay together. Flat snap ring, and it's too tight. Alright, let's see what kind of steels they gave us. 68. What were the old ones? They look a little thinner. I'm just saying. One of the snap rings is 88 thousandths, the other's 106. So we shall go with the thinner one. Where's my opening at? Much better. Alright.
Which one is the one we want to use?
Huh? Alright, I'm going to put another 100 thousandths washer here. I believe it was 60. Let's see if we're still recording. It was 62. So we're going to see what that does for clearance wise. I've got a bunch of washers here we can use. Direct drum, the seal goes down. Actually, that's the wrong one. Seal goes down. You scribe with a hook on it, get up underneath it, and make sure that your lip seal is not rolled like this one is. sometimes you can get these in. The earlier ones are a lot harder than the later ones because they got more of a bevel. If you find yourself where you can't get this piston in, you're just fighting it and fighting it. I have done this before, but you do have to be careful with it because you got to make sure that it does roll back inside there. I'll take the lip seal and I'll set it on there like this. To where it's just kind of started in the groove but not totally into it. Gonna fight me. I'll set it on there something similar to that, where it's kind of started in the groove but not totally. But only use this as a last resort. But you want that lip seal kind of rolled over onto it, kind of like that. And then when you put that piston in, it'll push it up into the groove if you're lucky. But I only do that if I cannot get this in any other way. Usually I can get these in. It just takes a little finesse on some of them more than others. And like I said on the teardown video, the later ones have dimples all the way around here, and on those I normally do 3, skip 2, do 3. Now you want this on top here, short end of the taper, the snap ring up towards us, and we want the opening over in here. Make sure your snap ring is inside those little tips right there. And we're going to keep the opening of our steels together again. Pressure plate, and this is the 106, and that's a lot of play right there. Let's see what our steels come out to on the old ones. And go see if I got some thicker steels. Alright, found a couple of 85s. See what that gets us. I can live with that. We're gonna go with that. Alright, we talked about washers there. On the washers on the back, the forward drum here, some of these like this one here takes this fiber disc. I come up with a metal one I'm going to put on there and get rid of that fiber. So it's going to sit on there, but on the later ones, some of them had, after that style, after this fiber style, they went to one that looked like that. Then after that one, they went to one that looked like that. So we have those. Let's see. And this one's got a bushing back here. The later ones don't. Let's talk about our bands for a second. We got our solid rear band. Deglazed it with a little bit of sandpaper. We're going to try to stick with the factory style band. Nobody had the solid band, and even if I could get it, it was $100, $110 just for this band, but nobody had it, so I deglazed it a little bit. We're going to run with it. This is what comes in the later style, this flex band. And the levers on our band, if you look right there, you see it says 2.6. There's different leverages for those levers, and these are the pins that go in there. One of these is going to go on there just like so. This one's going to go on there just like so. This is the factory style. This is a heavy duty style. Sonic sells these, I believe, and Supplier, I think, sells them, and maybe Transgo, I don't remember for a fact, but you can find these. These are much better than these. In high performance ones, this tends to bend and break, so you need to be mindful of that. On these types of bands right here, I always replace this style band, even if it looks good, because this lining is horrible about coming off on this style band. I don't know what it is about it, but even if it looks good, I'm replacing it. Alright, let's get ready to stuff this in the case. I'm gonna have to change camera angles. Alright, I don't know how well it's showing up on here. Here's the number. I'm gonna take that home and I'm gonna decode that number, and we'll find out what it says about it. Gotta put our governor support in the back here. I'm gonna line up our feed holes right here. And normally these just slide in. This one came out really tough. Let's see if it, hopefully it'll go in without being too tough. I don't know why it's wanting to be difficult. And I don't want it to knock my sprag out of the back of the case there. Alright, like I say, normally they just slide right in. We got 4 half-inch bolts. I have to move this away from the camera to tighten this down. Alright, put your output shaft in. We could put our tail housing on right now if we wanted to. I'm not going to do that. I want to stand this up in the case. Alright, this is going to be kind of wobbly, so on our rear band, this is going to fit up in the notch in the supply right here, our anchor. On our band drum, splines down. Alright, we're turning clockwise, locking counterclockwise. On our ring gear. Want this flat washer. The rear planet. Four tab washer. Sun shell. Three tab washer. Our front planet, 4 tab washer. You can lube all this up if you want to. Snap ring pliers, short end of the taper up towards us. Make sure our washer is on there. If we have the flex band, there's a couple different ones. There's ones that have just the notch here. That notch is going to face up towards you. If it has a notch on each end, it doesn't matter. But if you would put this in first, let it sit out there just like that. Those notches up. Since we have the solid band, it's going to go on the drum. It's going to sit over here. Alright, sounds nice and solid. Lube up our case. Put our gasket in, lining up our holes. Lube up the O-ring on our pump. And I had forgot to do it because later ones do not have it, but we need that plate that covers the vent. And line up our holes on our pump. We have these washers that go on our pump bolts. Forgot this one because on the later models ones they don't have it. This goes up here, and it actually does not take washers on these two. Alright. And we get this back on the bench and reposition the camera. Alright, on your rear servo, you gotta lube the crap out of this thing. You want the lip facing out towards you. And lube this up really nice and good again. This rear servo has a tendency to get cocked. Lubing it up really good and setting it tighter than what the factory says. And also not putting it in gear until you're sure it's full of fluid is going to help you not cock that servo. If this servo gets cocked, what's going to happen is this rear band's going to stay on, and when you hit third gear it's going to try to lock up and bring the car to a stop. So if that happens, you can usually get it straightened out without undoing anything. You can get it to pop back into place, and you should be okay. Otherwise you're going to have to undo your adjustment to get it popped back into place and then readjust it. Alright, in our kit, instead of the steel ring, they gave us a Teflon. I'm going to stick with the steel one. We've got a steel one that goes out here. The later model ones would have an O-ring that would go on this and it would drop down in here. There'd be a spring that sat on top, a washer, and a snap ring that held all that in. Early ones did not have all that. And the trick is to get this in there without bending your sealing ring. It's one of the reasons you try not to break your sealing rings when you're taking them off, just in case you do something like that. You got a replacement, you don't have to wait. I put a little grease on here to help keep this centered. Another sealing ring that goes on the outside here. Usually I just reuse the one that's on here. These are pretty hard to get in there, and unless the sealing ring looks horrible, I don't normally replace it. We'll see how it goes. You got this spring that goes on top, and that spring's going to go around here. The later ones is a great big spring that goes around right here. This is our spring for our rear servo. This goes in just like so. That one wasn't bad at all. Now if we can get our snap ring to go in there, we'll be nice and good. Alright. Our accumulator has metal rings on it also. They gave me Teflon. I'm going to stick with the steel ones. This one is very easy to bend that sealing ring. The spring goes on top. Our long strut goes over here. Short strut goes over here. Center up our band. My rear band, I especially do not adjust it the way that they say. I always go tighter. I just back my adjustment off. Let's see if we can kind of get in here and get a little bit better view. We got our strut. It's going to go in just like so. pop it into place. And I just bring it down. Let me get this where I gotta put something under here. Alright, I get it to where the drum turns. And got just a little bit of movement. The front band, let's see what they call for. Front band 2.5 turns, and rear band I can't see anymore. Alright, calls for 2.5 turns on the front and 2 turns on the rear. I'm going to set it the way that they say. 1, 2.5. It's pretty close. We'll see what it looks like after we air apply it. Alright. We're going to go half, 1, half, 2. And that's how much play they have on it. And that's just too much for me. You run the risk of cocking that servo on these. Alright, let's air apply this thing and see if our band adjustment changes. Alright, I'm going to tighten my front band up just a tad. I'm going to back that off just a little bit because when I tighten this down it's probably going to turn. Alright, we're going to leave that right there. Front band nut, I'm going to put some silicone behind it because they're bad about leaking. And I'm going to hit it with an impact because they're bad about loosening up. 3/4 inch on the band nut. Alright. Put our valve body on. Seven 16ths bolts. Okay. Alright, 3/8 on these. Like I said, normally these are bolts like these right here. I don't know why they did this, but that's what I got. This one here is wanting to be difficult. I don't know why that is not wanting to go. Alright, pans are horribly bad about leaking. Usually they've been over torqued too much. And put it on the edge of a table. Smack down the bolt holes. That should get us pretty flat. Put a slight bead of silicone on here. Put our pan gasket on. These are our pan bolts. And they had these up front. I don't know what they did with the originals. Put our lever seal in. And get this lever seal tool from the Snap-on truck. Put our linkage on, make sure it's all the way down. 7/16 on the linkage. Shove that all the way forward. And put our tail housing on. Now there's some O-rings on this shaft that goes through the case for the servo. They always leak anyway. I just put a dab of silicone. And you never have to worry about that again. Grab the right tail housing gasket. I'm going to flip this up on its end. It's going to be easier. We've got to spread the snap ring out, and it's on the bottom on this one. Got to work our shaft into the park mechanism. Spread our snap ring out. Alright, 9/16 on the tail housing. I think I'm going to have to back off in play. got the snap ring in. Need a gasket. Got our plate with the beveled ends going to face out towards us. We got the beveled screws. How well you can see it. Right there is a little dimple. You're going to find out what your tooth count is on your speedometer, and then on here there's going to be numbers written, and you're going to find out which one you're supposed to line up with, and then you're going to line the little line up with that dot. First, we're going to change our O-rings on here. And down inside here, there's a little wire. This little thing is going to hold the seal in. This is the one that comes on the real early ones, and my buddy likes to get these, and he puts these, he machines the like the Chevrolets that don't, the old Chevrolets that don't have a seal that goes in the housing, that leak all the damn time because they don't have a seal. He machines it to fit those, so he loves those things. So you got this seal. Alrighty. This end is going to face in, and you're going to put this down all the way into there and put this snap ring on top. What's up, buddy? Alright, it takes a little bit of doing to keep it from flipping on you. And you just push it down till it's up against that seal. And you got your speedometer seal on the outside. And you look on here, and this is a 32 tooth gear. So we're going to look on here and find the 32. So this one's a 32 to 38. Here's the lineup for it. Put your feet in there, just turn it until it lines up. And a 1/2 inch on this. There's a seal on the back of your neutral switch here. I'm gonna have to get that off. Here's a couple of different ones that go on there. This is a super late one. There's a 3-prong long like this, and there's a 3-prong short. Be short like this one. So there's several different ones that go on here. You can get this seal off and put it on there. Well, I'm gonna have to locate a seal in and give me one in the kit. So let me check my aim clearance and we'll see if we're done here. We're still good. We still got probably, I don't know, 20 thousandths there. I think I'm gonna have to loosen up just a tad bit on that rear band though. I think I'm just a little bit too tight. So let me put a gauge on here. I'm gonna check my clearance. I want to get down to probably around no more than 20 thousandths. And these are super sloppy from the factory. They probably got, I added in 80 thousandths there, so there's a good 100 thousandths clearance that they have on these things, and it's just ridiculously sloppy. So you've got plenty of room to play with there that you can tighten it up. Other than that, we're done with this build. I think I'm gonna have to back off on that rear band probably a quarter turn. Just felt a little too tight. Alright, let's catch you on the next one. Don't take all this stuff out, but I did to show you what's in here. On the early model Torqueflites, I had a spring that goes here and a ball. The later models, they got rid of this. And we'll change this back over. Alright, our spring, free length, 904. 375 and 44 thousandths. Our check ball, 374 thousandths. We got a large ball goes right here, 343 thousandths. The rest are quarter inch. Go here, 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 and here. And I've got my other plate, so let me go get that. In your later models, there would be a check ball hole up here, and they started putting a quarter-inch ball up here, and then at some point later on they started putting one down here. And sometimes this one would always be in there if it has the pocket. But this one down here would only be there if there was two holes down here. And they also started putting a little filter in here. You can leave them out if you want to. We got this. Let me move this out the way. Hopefully it won't mess us up too bad, as I forgot to put all this on first. The ones that have that spring and ball in that other section of the valve body, it makes it kind of hard getting it on there without knocking that ball off. So doing it this way should prevent that from happening. Okay, I'm going to try to move this out the way a little bit. So maybe we can get this on camera a little bit better. Especially since they got these studs on there. It should make this a little bit easier. Because it helps if I get in the right holes. There we go. May have to pull them studs out of there. They're making it most difficult. There we go. Go ahead and tighten these other plates down. 3/16 Allen head. We're going to screw this. Let's see, I think we go clockwise and bring it out to where it's flush. Okay, we just became flush, and we're going to screw it counterclockwise. 5 turns if you want passenger, a daily driver. It's a little bit tighter than what they had it before. This is really a high performance car, so I'm going to go, say you go 7 for it. I'm going to go in between. I'm going to do 6 because it's already tighter than what they had it before. I don't want the guy to be too unhappy with it. Our throttle linkage. Gonna go here. Normally on the later ones this kind of sits on top, so we can actually put this one in later. The later ones you're gonna have to put this in first. Seeing as this is opposite, we can put this in after the fact. So we're gonna need a little tool. This is out of I believe this is a Supplier shift kit. I like this one the best. It's easiest to use. This is the one from the Transgo kit, and what you do is you take your spring and ball. Let's see what size ball this thing is. 343 thousandths. Take your ball and you stick it in on the spring, and then you set that on there and you push your linkage in and it'll pop down into there. This one you put on the top. I like it better. It's easier to get this thing apart. So you put that there, put your manual valve in. Come on now, here we go. Put your linkage in facing that way. Put that on top. Put your linkage in right there. And now you can put this in the bottom. The later models, this would already be in there. The seal that goes on top here. Hopefully this will focus enough. You got that side, and you got that side. This is going to face up towards you. Make sure we're on the right side of that. Just kind of work it around it. Yep, got a flat washer, it goes on top. Actually, that was this way. Not that it matters, it can go either way. And our E-clip clips in that little groove right there. Alright. And we are in. Now we can pull our tool out. And this here would be shaped different on the later models, ones that have a plastic piece that goes around here that actuates that torque neutral switch. This one is just using these 2 tips right here. Alright, about it for the valve body. If I had my nuts, I could go ahead and put this on. If I had my bolts, I could just put it on also. The one that has the 2 holes in it is for the units that have the rear pump on it. This one doesn't. I think 65 was the last, 64, 65 was the last year for the rear pump.